Welcome back to Federal Taxation. Today we take up Lesson 7, and we'll take a quick look at the course syllabus and then at the work and the discussion questions. We are now, by the way, working out of a newer textbook that I had downloaded to you on last week during class or right prior to class. So we'll check that out. That means the page numbers may not match, but the material is brief enough that you can easily find it in the table of contents. After completing this lesson, you should be able to do the following things. We have 3 objectives. Number 1, understand non-taxable exchanges. Very often we exchange property, especially in the case of real estate, and we can delay the taxes. We never really get out of taxes, as we've discussed many times. They can simply be postponed. Of course, if you postpone taxes past your time on this planet, in effect, you don't pay taxes, just your state. So understanding non-taxable exchanges, first objective. Second, list the qualifications of like-kind exchanges. In order to qualify for tax-favored status, these have to be what we call like kind, like objects, like trades of the same kind. So we'll see what qualifies under that heading as we examine that topic. I promise you a few little surprises. And finally, objective number 3, explain the circumstances of what we call involuntary conversion. And involuntary conversion refers to limited partnerships and the fact that one may involuntarily discover that one is now a general partner when one had hoped to be a limited partner. Lesson readings. We have 2 read joint ventures on page 83 on business law, and read limited liability companies, LLC, on page 91. And of course, this video is included there in the activities. I presume you're watching it, so I don't need to instruct you to do so. Let's take a look at our lesson questions or discussion questions for this chapter. Number 1, discuss the requirement to be qualified as a like-kind exchange. Limited number of qualifications. They're treated in the reading, and they're fairly straightforward, I believe. Discussion question number 2. Discuss the recognition of gain or loss on like-kind exchanges when boot is received. Boot refers to cash in excess of the property exchanged. Of course, the cash goes to either the one party or the other, not to both. So what happens when there is cash in addition to the transaction? We call these like-for-like barter type transactions. And what happens when there's extra cash involved? How does that play out in the tax code? Number 3, discussion question. When does involuntary conversion occur? And we'll look at that. I believe the material has not been updated for many years, so my experience with this was in the real estate business when we conducted a number of tax advantaged, we called them tax-free, but they weren't tax advantaged exchanges, tax delayed exchanges, and also under that heading we formed a number of general, or rather limited partnerships. The general partner was the broker for the real estate agency, and he would caution the limited partners, your limited partnership protects you from general liability only so long as you abide by the rules and agreements. So we'll take a look at that. I'd be curious to see if there have been any changes in the intervening years, though I doubted it was pretty complete at the time. But I think this will be a fun topic for both of us, you and myself. And number 4, discuss the tax treatment of involuntary conversion. How does this affect the taxes should this take place? Of course, I may have misread this lesson and looked at involuntary conversion as something that I assume it to be, when in fact it is something entirely different. But hey, that's what makes the class kind of fun. All right. Don't forget the online quiz. This is your 7th and last quiz of its type. I believe the final exam, Lesson 8, is a bit longer, but we'll take a look at that as well in class, because I'd like you to be prepared as well as can be done. I'm looking at Lesson 8 now, and I see that the final exam doesn't say specifically what is involved, so we'll take a look at that in class. Lesson 8 would be a week from this coming week, and that will be the end of the term. We will have completed the entire round of courses for auditing and CPA test preparation and federal taxation. So by this time you have become quite expert. Most people do not have the depth of understanding of the subject that you now possess, so you should be very confident in that you are well versed in the subject matter, and more importantly and much more significantly, that you can look up any questions that you don't have immediate answers to. Knowing at the tip of your fingers all of the information is not something that the true professional generally acquires, except after many, many years of experience. But as new professionals and new experts, you know where to go. And those are the sources for the regulations and principles behind what we've studied, and being able to research those, being able to come up with questions and more important answers. More importantly, being able to support those answers by citing the reference that so states you have become a worthy professional. That means worthy of being paid properly for your work. So hope some of you do enjoy the opportunity of conducting CPA type activities in your life. Maybe doing tax returns, maybe doing audits for large corporations. It's a very interesting and fun work. Well, we'll sign off now and look forward